Today is March 11, 2025. My name is Charles Suter. Today I'm presenting a topic called the relationship between procrastination and anxiety. My main message: procrastination is a leading cause of anxiety. As shown in the deadly cycle below, one leads to the other. Either there's things that you need to do that you're not doing, which will cause anxiety, or a threat from the outside for which there is a fear of doing anything remedial can cause procrastination. Either one keeps that deadly cycle going. So anxiety is a physical consequence, it's an emotional feeling of a perceived threat to one's well-being. Anxiety is an emotion that should not be ignored but examined to determine the source of the fear and whether it is real and imminent or not. This presentation focuses on those anxieties due to real and imminent threats whereupon action is warranted to alleviate the threat. Should a person not heed his emotions of distress, whether they're real or imaginary, without taking appropriate action, the threat may continue unabated and possibly worsen. As the threat continues to grow, so too will the intensity of the anxiety continue or grow. The best remedy to a real threat is to take preventative or remedial action to avoid or reduce it. If the threat is imaginary, then the cause of this unnecessary emotional distress is improper or erroneous beliefs. The remedy to improper beliefs is to change them into their rational equivalent. However, if the threat is real, and most often it might be, appropriate action must be taken. Otherwise, any real threat is likely to remain threatening, and the emotional distress of anxiety will continue unabated. Appropriately directed action is the only effective treatment for anxiety caused by either real or imagined threats. Proposition 1. A dominant cause of anxiety is procrastination. Procrastination is an inactivity or not doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done. When action is not taken in a timely manner, real problems go from bad to worse. And as problems grow larger, so too does the associated anxiety. People fail to protect themselves from a threat when they lack the confidence, resources, or means to abate the threat. Another reason is fear. Fear has a way of undermining confidence in dealing with a threat. Uncertainty as to the circumstances surrounding the threat oftentimes makes the threat seem bigger than it really is, and it also obscures the solutions for reducing a threat. Likewise, a lack of skill or experience in dealing with certain threats will limit one's options for dealing with it. For many good and not so good reasons, people don't deal timely with their issues, even when the means for doing so are available. Solutions often require confronting an issue that might even be more fearful than the threat itself, especially if one's fragile ego or self-esteem is at stake. Some actions are just too onerous and repugnant to contemplate. So, to avoid the pain of direct action, people are prone to choose ineffective coping strategies such as escape, avoidance, and/or procrastination. The most common form of handling anxiety is to play the waiting game, also known as procrastination, hoping the threat will dissolve on its own or a less demanding course of action reveals itself. Proposition 2. A dominant cause of procrastination is anxiety. Anxiety is a fear of some pending or imagined threat. The fear of taking action to a threat that seems overwhelming causes procrastination. And of course, as the anxiety grows, a person's fear causes more procrastination. It's the deadly cycle up here. When actions need to be taken in a timely manner to promote the healthy continuation of a preferred lifestyle, but those actions are not taken for whatever reason, threats can grow out of proportion due to lack of attention. Real or imagined threats are the leading cause of anxiety. So, to procrastinate is to create conditions conducive to more severe anxiety. A person's inactivity to the necessities of life is often the primary cause of threats leading to anxiety. A healthy reason for suffering anxiety is to induce a person to do what needs to be done to reduce the potential threat. So anxiety can be healthy. It's a signal that the body needs to protect itself by motivating the conscious mind to take action to safeguard one's desired comfort zones. Proposition 3. Again, anxiety and procrastination are mutually and cyclically supporting. To break this cycle, overcome anxiety by overcoming procrastination and taking action. You can either break the cycle here with anxiety, removing the false beliefs, or procrastination, taking right action. Effective action is a proven cure to resolving threats and overcoming anxiety. It's much easier to treat procrastination than anxiety, so develop a proactive approach to life. If you're not sure what to do, find out what's wrong and start taking action. As the figure above illustrates, procrastination and anxiety are cyclical and mutually reinforcing. The only way to break the negative cycle is to change one's perception of the threat or overcome procrastination by taking remedial action. Many sources of threats are simply distortions in one's worldview, their perceptions, or personal beliefs as to the appropriate course of action, and the appropriate course of action is to remedy those distortions in thinking with more rational point of view or beliefs. However, if the threat is real, then the proper remedy is to take appropriate remedial action. That should be obvious to you by now. As the threat subsides, so too will the anxiety. So my final message is that your anxiety ends when your procrastination ends. The main conclusion of this presentation is that procrastination and anxiety are mutually perpetuating and self-supporting, each causing the escalation of the other. There are remedies. 1. Take action, either to confirm the threat is real or an exaggeration. 2. If the threat is real, then take action to counter the threat. 3. If the threat is imaginary or irrational, then replace the worldview, perception, or belief with some self-chosen rational equivalent. 4. If action cannot be taken immediately, then develop a plan of action that puts you in a position to acquire whatever resources, skills, or necessary conditions to take effective action. And finally, 5. If you are procrastinating because the action demanded is burdensome, unsavory, or threatening in and of itself, then you must find a way to motivate yourself to do it anyway, unless you want to continue to suffer an unabated source of anxiety. Well, that's all for now. Remember to stay positive, you'll be happier, healthier, and live longer.